I'm Sean Lott, and welcome to Argumental, the show where the hottest names in comedy debate the biggest issues facing mankind. Here to argue such burning issues are our teams. In the red corner, Captain Sean Walsh and his guest, Jimmy Carr. And in the blue corner, Captain Robert Webb and his guest, Miles Jupp. OK, let's kick off with round one. Tonight, the subject under discussion is elitism.
Who runs Britain? Well, she just does the stamps. He thinks he does. He knows he doesn't. He really wants to. Or is it their old school chums, Piggy, Squidger and Crabs? What could possibly go wrong? Oh, where's all our money? The country's knackered, but what's the alternative? You want these nutters in charge, do you? They won't empty your bins.
The issue I want the teams to argue over is this. Britain should be run by the rich. And supporting the statement on behalf of the blue team, it's Miles Jupp.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Britain should be run by the rich. Well, not only should it be, but it already is. The rich, they're experienced team leaders. They've been bossing people around from the moment that they first learned to point at their own bottoms and say, "Come on then, Nanny, it's time for you to wipey-wipey." What do the poor know how to run, other than out of money quickly? If you put a poor person in charge of the country, they'll keep getting distracted by offers of work for cash in hand. They will. Can you chair a meeting of Cobra this afternoon, Prime Minister? I can't. A man in Forest Hill is giving us a score to do his crazy paving. The thing about the rich is they can afford to run the place even if they're stupid, because they can afford to surround themselves with clever people to advise them. George Bush had Karl Rove. Alan Sugar has that Nick man who may well have hemorrhoids. When I say the rich should run Britain, I mean the super rich. I'm not talking about your commoner's muck, Eton-educated, public school millionaire. We're talking about the richest people in Britain. People who make Boris Johnson look like Kerry Katona, which he already does a little, right? Many
he
thanks.
really does, though, doesn't he? Pip, pip, what-o. Dig deep. For the school honour, come on.
You can do the voice, Jimmy, but I know that you weren't that well schooled.
He's right. I wasn't a professor in Balamory.
There was no professor in Balamory, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I was in
you
Balamory.
idiot. He was an inventor!
Sorry, someone in the audience has just gone, that's where I know him from.
You're right, madam, that is where you know me from, and not any of my other BAFTA-nominated television work. Now, the super rich, if I may continue, the super rich have serious bounce-back ability. Last year, Lakshmi Mittal, the steel magnate, he lost £5 billion. Do you know what he is this year? He is still the richest man in Britain. So I would far rather be governed by a man who could lose £5 billion and go, well, than someone who, when facing a budget deficit, goes, oh, no, I'm going to have to fire the police. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why the rich should run Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to vote blue.
Thank you, Miles. Next up, opposing the statement, it's Jimmy Carr.
Right. Good. Yeah. Thank you, Miles. Rich people love money too much to run the country. There would be nothing left. It'd be like putting Eamon Holmes in charge of Greggs. This country needs to be run by the kind of people that could solve the country's problems. People like Jeremy Kyle or Dear Deirdre. That's what this country needs. Yeah, well, quite right, said a woman whose... turns out he's not the father. Poor people are better for a number of reasons. For a start, poor people value the elderly in a way that rich people don't, because poor people know they can get £97 a week from their grandparents simply by registering themselves as carer. If the rich were in charge, they'd never let anyone else have any money. Poor people, on the other hand, believe passionately in social mobility. That's why so many of them choose to live in caravans. And if they're fat, they've got the scooters.
Are you mixing up the poor with the infirm?
Yeah, potato.
Yeah.
While we're talking about the rich and the poor, let's remember there are entire families that don't work. They're parasites. They live off the state, on handouts. They spend all their time wandering around in garish clothes, causing a nuisance everywhere they go. And we call them, of course, the royal family. This isn't a hypothetical situation. This is what's actually going on. The rich elite from Eden are running the country, and it's... What do you think? Good? Happy? No, vote red. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. So, Sean, Robert, have you got anything to say to support your teammates?
Well, I mean, yeah, fine. But, I mean, if the rich won't want running the country, then who's going to run the country? The poor? I mean, who's going to look after the calf? I mean, I get most of my information about poor people from EastEnders, and if it's taught me anything, it's the sovereign importance of looking after the calf. Someone's got to look after the calf. You don't want someone going, marginal tax rates. Yeah, well, hang on. Yeah, well, who's looking after the calf? Yeah, well, Steve, no, he's helping with Terry's move. Yeah, and you've got to pick the kids up from playgroup and then, yeah, fish fingers or something. What? Yeah, 20%, it's progressive. 20%, 40%, 60% for over 800 grand. What? Well, close the fucking loophole. Yeah.
I just think rich people have got, you know, they should be out there making money and, you know, this, you know, doing what they're good at, being on yachts.
Out there making money for who, though?
For themselves?
Just for themselves. We can't all take the Jimmy Carr attitude to life, Jimmy. I mean...
I can. Fits like a glove.
Yeah. We can't all, I'm just saying, otherwise society would completely break down. If life was just entirely occupied by people like yourself who look like sort of well-groomed sort of sex criminals, then...
There is no getting away from the fact that I do look like a gentleman rapist.
Yeah.
Also, like the MP's expenses scandal is a good example, because it was the richest ones that had the most crazy claims. All the moats and the duck houses, they were already wealthy people, and they just wanted more and more in a sense of entitlement.
But what I would say to that is, doesn't that show the great ingenuity of the rich? I wouldn't know where to get a duck house from. But a rich person goes, well, I know exactly the chap who sells duck houses. I'm going to phone him up, Duck House Jack. And he makes seesaws for pandas. He's an amazing fellow.
I think basically what should happen is the rich shouldn't be... We shouldn't just have an election once every 5 years. What we should do, we've got the technology for X Factor. People get involved in that and they vote on who they want to sing. And it's of no importance at all. And we've all got phones. We should all be registered and vote on everything.
But the danger of that, of course, is that people aren't informed, aren't they? That's one of the big problems, is that people are distracted from political debate by show business and celebrity. Karl Marx famously said, religion is the opiate of the masses. If he was around today, what he'd say is, oh, God, Cheryl's back with Ashley. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe she's back with him.
I'm going to text Engels. Yeah. Engels, OMG.
They're back together again, it's amazing. This is how I think the super rich see the country is. But, you know, sometimes I'm at home and I'm on my sofa and I've got all the cushions just right. And it just everywhere is nestling on something soft and comfortable, and I've got my head at the right angle, telly's on, and then someone comes in the room and they just look at you as if to say, you're not going to keep all those cushions, are you? And eventually, after a while, because they just stand in front of me with their arms folded, shaking their heads, I go, there you go, then, all right. Super rich don't do that. I know it's not the strongest political argument. But they keep all the cushions, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Sean, do you ever have it when you're watching television, you've got your hand, say, sometimes I have it in between my legs, just there, watching television, then I go to use remote control. I go to use remote control, change the channel, and then I can't remember where my hand was. So that, it was in such a comfortable place, and you're just going, where was that lovely, comfortable Close.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. With you on that. Yeah.
Please vote red because we're very much the mixed ability team.
So it's time to decide who made the best case. Vote blue if you agree with Miles, who thinks Britain should be run by the rich, or vote red if Jimmy convinced you that Britain should not be run by the rich. Please vote now. Definitely a victory for the red team! Thank you. Our next round is called That's a Brilliant Idea. We're going to present our teams with a series of preposterous statements. They've to produce an argument in support of those statements. When I think they've made a convincing enough case, I'll press the buzzer. And we'll move on. And they must begin each argument with the words, "That's a brilliant idea." Robert and Jimmy, you'll play this one.
OK.
Jimmy, we'll start with you. Here's your first statement. Fat people should pay more tax.
Well, that is clearly a brilliant idea. Fat people are a heavy burden. But what they do, I mean, it's just a fact. They put a great strain on the NHS, not to mention seesaws and swings. Fat people have stretched government resources and elasticated waistbands. If they're going to pay more tax, I think we should put it in terms that fat people would understand. We should say, we're going to supersise your tax. You're going large.
Robert, the elderly should be given free cigarettes.
Yes, that is a brilliant idea. How else are we finally going to get rid of Bruce Forsyth?
Thank you. Jimmy, all children should be given an ASBO on their 16th birthday.
Well, that is a brilliant idea. It's a qualification. That's good. And they can probably spell it. It'd be a hell of a year, wouldn't it, getting an ASBO on your 16th birthday? That, a baby and chlamydia? Yay! I think we should make each ASBO very slightly different as well, so they can collect and swap like Pokemon cards. It's all right. It's like getting a telegram from the Queen telling you she thinks you're scum.
Robert, here's your next statement. Every film should have an unhappy ending.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea because life is unhappy. And so I think at the end of Annie, she should die. At the end of Titanic, they should both die. And at the end of the Muppet movie, everybody dies!
Did you see the Passion of the Christ movie? They tacked on a bullshit Hollywood ending where the hero comes back.
Oh, I hate that.
Ruined it.
Yeah.
E.T. would have been good, wouldn't it? Because then, rather than going home, he just moves to, like, somewhere like Hemel Hempstead. Jimmy, Gary Glitter should be given a second chance.
That, Sean, is a brilliant idea. Because, in his defence, kids are cute. Who can deny... I like the people that clapped and then went, what am I doing? He's just misunderstood by people that aren't child-molesting monsters. I think it's a brilliant idea. He just made one little mistake. I say little, she was nearly 12. He should be given a second chance, because now Michael Jackson is gone, there is a gap in the market.
What you could say describe Gary's mistake, it's a schoolboy error.
Good luck, everyone.
Well, well done, both of you. Please sit down. Who do you think did the best job? Red for Jimmy, blue for Robert. Please vote now.
Red.
It's a red victory for Jimmy. Join us after the break, and we'll find out just how awesome this man is. Welcome back to Argumental. Our next round is called Flip-Flop. I'll give one member of each team a statement which they must support until they hear this sound. At which point, they must perform a U-turn and argue against it. Then flip, flop, backwards and forwards every time I press the buzzer. Sean, you're going first. And I'd like to start off by arguing that Britain will cock up the Olympics.
Of course we're going to cock up the Olympics. We're not going to be able to do the sports, are we? Because our off licences are open too long. The athletes will be drunk. You know what it's like when you're drunk? The pole vault, the whole point in that is getting over it. But our athletes are going to be pissed. They're going to do that thing that you're drunk where you just try and touch stuff above you. Go like that. Hey! Hey! Of course we're not going to cock it up, because we're British. We're not going to cock it up.
That's a spirit.
Exactly. We're not going to... Of course we're not going to cock it up. What do you mean we're going to cock? You're not going to cock. I'm not going to cock it up. What are you looking at me for? I'm not going to cock it up.
We won't point. There's a lot of planning going on. Sadly, most of it is being done by Al Qaeda.
The opening ceremony is going to be brilliant as well, because there'll be mini sausages, won't there? British people, if there's a party, there's mini sausages. We'll have mini sausages. It'll be amazing. We're not going to cock it. We've got mini sausages. All we're going to have is mini sausages. That's pathetic. Well, hang on, where are the Olympics? Well, we've got some mini sausages, which means there'll be mini sausages.
Sorry, is Terry Katona in charge of the opening ceremony?
What are you going on about mini sausages? It's got nothing to do with the Olympics, nothing to do with sport. You can't just keep saying you'll have some mini sausages. What's that got to do with the Olympics?
Mini sausage, mini sausages! I want mini sausages! Thank you,
OK,
Yes!
Miles, you're up next.
I don't want to be cocky. I'd just like to say good luck with that, because my boy nailed it.
I can't think about whatever it is I'm about to do. I'm just excited about the Olympics, which I hadn't been interested in before, but I had no idea what the catering arrangements were.
I think Sean's infected us all with Olympic fever.
Or possibly CJD.
Yeah. I'd like you to begin arguing that gays have more fun.
Why does he get that? Do gays have more fun? Big sausages!
Gays, I imagine...
Yeah, keep it repressed.
...have significantly more fun than your bog-standard heterosexual, such as myself. Being gay must be awesome. It must be... It must be fantastic to start your sexual career already having a working knowledge of the reproductive organs with which you're about to engage. That must... You'd be able to go into the thing with so much more confidence. I mean, being gay, it must be fun, otherwise they wouldn't make all that noise.
Miles, what noise do they make, Miles?
You've heard Will Young sing, haven't you? I can only describe it as a fucking noise.
Being gay is not, I imagine, all that much of a laugh.
Otherwise, they wouldn't make all that noise.
To be openly gay in this country essentially means to be liberated. What an appalling thing it would be to be genuinely liberated. That is simply not what British people are for. I'm going to go to the grave with exactly how I feel about Fiona Bruce. I don't want anyone knowing about it. That's what I do. I lock...
Your chest is made of door.
That is my impression of a gay noise.
That's you trying to get out of the closet.
Gays do not have more fun, because gays never get to experience, unlike I do, the look on, for instance, a lady's face when she's thanking me for the... frankly astonishing piece of sexual work that I have just carried out.
You make that sound like you've laid a drive.
Who doesn't love cock?
Just to warn you now, Miles, if we are pushed for time in the edit, there might not be much flip-flopping, there might just be that. Yeah. A guy I know is a minicab driver, and he said, I'm not picking up from the gay club anymore. And he said, why? He said, because I went the other night, this bloke came out and he had chaps on, but with nothing in the back, you know, he just had his arse bare. And he made him sit on a copy of The Sun in the front seat. And then when he got out, he said, you can take that with you. It was page 3 as well, which is ironic. OK, time for the audience to decide who flipped and who flopped. If you think Sean did the best job, hold up your red card. If you reckon Miles flip-flopped best, vote blue. Vote now.
Oh, look away, look away, look away. Look away, look away. They've made a mistake. They've made a terrible mistake.
An undoubted blue victory. Well done to the blue team.
I don't know what they're colourblind.
OK, it's on to our live guest round, and to help us get to the heart of the next debate, welcome tonight's special guest, Prince Albert. Hello, Albert.
Hi. Hello.
This is Albert. Thank you for coming and joining us. How many piercings have you got?
About 250.
There are some piercings we can't see. He's even got a pierced Brosnan. Now, I'd be surprised for you to hear that Albert worked for Barclays Bank for 30 years. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'd agree with me with saying I'd like every banker to have this done to them. The statement I want you to argue is this: everybody looks awesome with a piercing. First up to argue that everybody does look awesome with a piercing, it's Sean.
Do you think it looks awesome? Yes! Do you think everybody looks awesome with a piercing? Something about you. All of you, you're going to remember Prince Albert, not just for the next hour, not for just the next week. He's going to haunt you in your sleep. You don't get remembered. Man, no one's going to remember you. No one. When you're just walking down the street in London, no one looks at you and thinks, fucking hell! Jesus Christ! Someone take a picture! No one thinks that. No one's going to remember you, but we remember Prince Albert here. We remember him. You know, his heart, he can take pain. If you were to get stabbed, sir, sorry to keep on picking at you, but if you were to get stabbed, you'd go, oh, I'm stabbed in the thigh, go to hospital. Prince Albert gets stabbed, he goes, fucking, that was brilliant, I'm going to get the other thigh done. He's going to go clubbing, because he's a legend. It looks awesome. And if that hasn't won you over, just think about how much fun you can have here. He can bury himself at the beach. Just bury himself at the beach. And just wait and wait to freak the fuck out of that bloke with a metal detector. Vote red, everybody. You know you want to.
Well done, Sean. And opposing Sean, arguing not everybody looks awesome with a piercing, it's Robert.
Hi.
Everybody looks awesome with a piercing. Awesome. Awesome. I'm just rolling that word round my mind and trying to get it to fit with what I can see here. To be honest with you, I can't get it to fit. There are words that will fit with what I can see. Words like Christ, stop, and why. But not so much awesome. I'm not going to ask Prince Albert what happened to him during his childhood that made him want to do this thing that he's doing here, because I've got a feeling that the answer might be a little bit, you know, a bit gritty, a little bit BAFTA-winningly hard-hitting. So, you know, it may be...
He's standing right there.
It may be... Look, come on. Everyone has to have a hobby. I like films. Because lots of people like piercings. Rihanna, Paris Hilton, they've got piercings. Chris Moyle has an unsightly bulbous growth coming out of the end of his penis, called Chris Moyles. Albert actually has something you can't see at the moment. Albert actually has a vajazzle, because he's pierced his genitals so many times that the holes have won. And form themselves into one big one. But, I mean, some people look great with a piercing. Richard Littlejohn's appearance will be vastly improved with a 9-inch nail through his brain. But in conclusion, to paraphrase Oscar Wilde, to have one piercing may look awesome, but to have over 200 does start to look a little bit mental. Thank you very much.
We think you look awesome, Albert. Well done, and thanks very much for being a very good sport. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, everyone.
So, Miles, Jimmy, what would you like to say in support of your teammates?
I think they do look nice. They can. It's a nice one or two. I think you could overdo it with anything, though, can't you? You could, you know, for instance, a mane of hair.
You're meant to be on my team.
Well, look at Jimmy. He's got a plank of hair.
I think it's nice when people get piercings or tattoos for a reason. I don't mind it. Like, I've met a couple of guys, like sailors, and whenever they go somewhere, they get a tattoo of where they've been, and that seems
Where
like...
did you meet a couple of sailors, Jimmy?
Miles just wants a phone number.
The piercing it can be sexy. It can be sexy. Sometimes you get women, they have the lower back pierced. It's quite attractive, isn't it?
The lower back? They have the lower back pierced? I've never seen that.
You ever seen that?
Where did that have pierced?
That's a wheelchair they're in. I tell you what put me off piercings. I was at a urinal once. I was standing at a urinal next to this guy. And I'm standing there, and after a few seconds, this guy pisses in my eye. and I said, excuse me, because, you know, I thought this is an intervention is necessary here. I should say something. And this guy was so apologetic. He was mortified. He said, look, I'm really, really sorry. I'm extremely sorry. He said, but I've had a lot of piercings in my penis. He said, I had one taken out recently, and if I don't put my finger over the hole in the top, he said, urine shoots out the other side. And he said, and I forgot to do that. And it seemed like a reasonable explanation to me. So I said, let's have a look. And he was covered. He had piercings everywhere.
You said, let's have a look.
Well, I wanted to... Well, he was had it out.
Well, you could have taken out all the piercings in his cock and then sort of played him like a recorder.
Now, that would have what you would have done, Miles.
Hi, I'm grade 3 on the blue-veined clarinet.
Anyway, let me finish. Once again, the audience will decide who made the best case. Red for Sean and blue for Robert. Vote now.
Oh, come on. Nailed it. You smashed it. Great. Smashed it.
So that looks like a victory for the red team. Well done to Jimmy and Sean. So that means tonight's winners are the red team. Right, just time to say thanks to tonight's guests, Miles Jupp and Jimmy Carr, to our captains, Sean Walsh and Robert Webb. Good night.
On the way, a chat show with 4 wheels. Robert Llewellyn is the driver and all kinds of famous faces are his passengers. Carpool is next, here on Dave.